The Russian winters during World War II were infamous for their deadly cold. The temperatures often plummeted to levels that were not just uncomfortable, but life-threatening. Soldiers had to endure these harsh conditions while still maintaining their duties on the front lines. The cold was an enemy in itself, one that could sap the strength and will of even the most hardened soldiers. But the soldiers had a secret weapon to stay warm: camper stoves, and a little ingenuity. These stoves were small, portable, and could be easily carried along with their other gear. They were initially designed for cooking meals, but the soldiers quickly found that they could be used for much more than just preparing food. These camper stoves were originally designed for cooking, providing a much-needed hot meal in the freezing conditions. A hot meal could mean the difference between life and death, giving soldiers the energy they needed to continue fighting. But in the resourcefulness that often comes out of necessity, soldiers discovered another use for these stoves. But soldiers quickly discovered another use: distilling alcohol. This was not just a luxury, it became a crucial part of their survival strategy. Alcohol could be used to disinfect wounds, clean equipment, and most importantly, provide a source of warmth. Using scraps and creativity, they turned their stoves into mini distilleries. They would gather whatever materials they could find, old pipes, metal scraps, and other bits and pieces to modify their stoves. This ingenuity allowed them to produce alcohol even in the most challenging conditions. Fermented potatoes or grains became the key ingredients for their homemade moonshine. These were items that were relatively easy to come by, even in the war-torn landscape. The fermentation process was simple but effective, turning basic foodstuffs into a valuable resource. The alcohol wasn't just for drinking, it was survival. In the freezing temperatures, a small amount of alcohol could provide a significant amount of warmth. It helped to stave off the cold and keep the soldiers' spirits up. This was especially important during the long, dark nights when the cold was at its worst. It warmed their bodies during freezing nights and boosted morale during the darkest days of war. The simple act of sharing a drink could bring a sense of camaraderie and normalcy, even in the midst of chaos. It was a small comfort, but one that made a big difference. In temperatures well below freezing, this moonshine was as important as their weapons. It was a tool for survival, just like their rifles and ammunition. Without it, many soldiers might not have made it through the harsh winters. It brought comfort, warmth, and camaraderie. The shared experience of creating and consuming the alcohol helped to strengthen the bonds between the soldiers. It was a way to cope with the stress and fear that came with being on the front lines. While this wasn't officially sanctioned, commanders often turned a blind eye. They understood that the benefits of allowing the soldiers to produce and consume alcohol far outweighed the potential downsides. It was a pragmatic decision, one that acknowledged the harsh realities of war. After all, keeping soldiers warm and motivated was crucial. A motivated soldier was a more effective soldier, and in the brutal conditions of the Russian winter, every advantage was needed. These camper stoves became more than tools. They were lifelines in the fight against the cold. They represented the ingenuity and resourcefulness of the soldiers, who found ways to adapt and survive in the most challenging conditions. A symbol of Russian resilience and ingenuity during wartime. These stoves and the alcohol they produced were a testament to the soldiers' ability to make the best of a bad situation. From warmth to morale, this was one ingenious way to survive the war. It was a small but significant part of the larger story of survival and resilience during World War II. Cheers to the ingenuity of soldiers in the harshest conditions. Their creativity and resourcefulness were key to their survival and success. Like and subscribe for more untold stories of wartime survival. Join us as we uncover more incredible tales of resilience and ingenuity from history's most challenging times.